Amitava Mukherjee, who is the Director of Finance at NMDC, now joins in on the show. Good to have you on board. To begin with, what's the reason for the degrowth in the quarterly performance in terms of the top line, and how much is the reduction in realizations? What has been the fall in volumes due to Donimalai?
Now, on a 9-month period, actually, we've been able to hold the top line. There has not been any degrowth on a 9-month period. Of course, on a 3-month period, there has been a degrowth of around 18%. But that is mostly price related. You see, there is if you compare it on a quarter-to-quarter basis of the previous year, that's on a year-to-year basis, the prices came down by a good almost 900 rupees. That's around 22%. So we didn't have the advantage of last year prices. But on a 9-month basis, I think we have been able to hold the top line, and this is despite headwinds like falling prices over the 9-month period and not having Donimalai. Despite that, we have not only held the top line, but even our PAT has actually marginally increased. So that is good news for us. Of course, the marginal increase in PAT is partly attributable to the lower tax rates that we must admit. So overall, on a 9-month basis, I think it has been a fairly satisfactory performance on our side. Yes, on the third quarter itself, if you take it on a standalone basis, only on the quarter basis, because of the steep downfall in prices as compared to the last Q3 of last year, yes, the results have been on the lower side than expected.
Yes, indeed. And your margins too have contracted from 59% to about 52.8%. What has led to your compression in margins?
Basically, the domestic prices came down from around 3,776 to around 3,425 in this 9-month period. So that's a fairly steep fall of around 9%, 9 to 10%. So that actually affected our EBITDA going around 6% less than as compared to last year. Last year, remember, Q3 prices were the highest in the last 24 to 36 months. They were on all-time high at around 3,800. Now we have not been able to hold those prices for long. And then, right from the beginning of the financial year, we have seen the prices move south, and very steadily so. It's only in January in Q4 that the prices have moved up a little. It has moved up a little. So the loss of EBITDA is essentially completely price driven.
Right. So you've been hiking prices the last 3 times. Very recently as well, you hiked it beyond 3,000 rupees. What's the outlook on prices for lumps going forward?
Of course, in January, we have taken 2 price hikes back to back almost. But it is very difficult to speculate on the future movement of prices. Normally, we do not speculate on future movement of prices. So that would not be proper for us to make a speculation of how the prices would move in the next few days or for the next few weeks. I think we'll refrain from speculating on prices as of now.
Right. The last few months, you've been able to ramp up output decently as well. Plus, Chhattisgarh government has extended the 4 of your mines. What's the mining capacity that you're running at right now?
You see, the guidance for this year was 32 million ton. We will certainly cross it without any doubts. So we will be doing obviously more than the guidance what we had given, much more than 32. That's next year we are planning a substantial increase to around 48 million tons. We have already communicated that to the market. So 48 million tons is what we are looking at. But that is of course inclusive of Donimalai, provided Donimalai comes back to us. So that's a very, very substantial increase in our capacity, and that would be almost close to our EC capacity of around 52 or 53, something like that. So that's what's going to be feasible next year. That is what we are looking at next year.
Wanted to understand what India's iron ore supply situation is like currently, because the Odisha miners whose mines are set to expire soon, they have a circular that allows the auto extension of leases in the absence of any other communication from the government. Can you just clarify as to what the situation is on this front?
I believe the rules allow the existing miner to sell for another 6 months plus 1 month, 7 months. I think I'm aware of that rule only. I'm not aware of any other rule. In any case, the auctions are under process, and we cannot possibly comment on what other business houses or other business people are doing, what their strategies are. All we can say that for the next year, keeping everything in view, we have decided that we will try and possibly we will, in all likelihood, have a production of 48 million tons. So that speaks of our outlook for the next year, taking everything into account.
So what's your view on the fall in Chinese iron ore prices because of coronavirus and the kind of resilience that Indian iron ore prices have been showcasing so far?
Yes, obviously, it's over the last 2-3 weeks, I think it has fallen by around $16. Today it was around 82 point something. A few weeks back it was at 98. So this steep fall has been essentially attributed to the Chinese coronavirus, where there's been a major lockdown in a lot of steel growing provinces, steel making provinces. So that is directly attributable to that. But still, at our prices, the Indian domestic, at the current domestic prices, our ore is still cheaper than the than the imported ore on a landed cost basis. So unless it comes down, generally, unless it comes down to around 60-65, it is only then it comes at par at our current prices, current domestic prices.
And why is the communication from Karnataka government extending the Donimalai lease taking so long? Have they asked for some of the other conditions to be fulfilled?
Well, we can only say about Donimalai that we continue to be positive and hopeful. Apart from that, I don't think we have any comment to make about Donimalai. We are just positive and we are just hopeful about it.
All right, fingers crossed then on that front. Thank you for sharing with us the outlook on the business as well as growth plans for NMDC.